There are loads of straight-up action shooting games available in VR right now, but if you're looking for something a bit more stealth-based, the options are a bit more limited. So today, we're going to run through the best stealth and stealth-based action games that are available in VR right now. We're going to start with Espire 2, which is arguably the best pure stealth action game that is available right now on MetaQuest. It's a game that has you sneaking around and using all sorts of gadgets and technology to take out enemy placements. But more than this, on MetaQuest 3 and MetaQuest 3S, it also has a new MR missions update. And what this does is it allows you to scan your actual environment, your real-world living space, into the game and sneak around in your own living room. You'll be facing enemies just the same as you would in the VR edition, in the VR element of the game, but now you're doing it in your own real-world environment. When this MR Missions update first launched, it was met with significant applause from the VR community at large. It changed the way the game is done, and it was tailored in such a way that it would behave differently depending on the size of your space. A larger space might have more enemies than a smaller space. So it's not just one size fits all, and it will fit uniquely and perfectly in whatever space that you have available to play. Espire 2 is available now on MetaQuest 3 and it is highly recommended. Next up we have Assassin's Creed Nexus VR. Now this isn't the first time that Assassin's Creed has had a VR adaptation, but it is the one that you can get right now for your MetaQuest. The original kind of got lost in time, but this one is built specifically for the MetaQuest. And it's more of a narrative-driven stealth game. You'll be using all the same tools that you use in traditional Assassin's Creed games, such as like blending into crowds and using your hidden blades. But it is a more linear experience than you might be used to. You're going to still be doing stealth action and leaping from buildings and all those sorts of really fun and exciting Assassin's Creed things, and doing them in VR is a really fantastic experience. But it's not as free-flowing as some of the VR experiences that you'll see elsewhere. It also allows you to relive some of the more famous characters from the Assassin's Creed series, most notably Ezio, and it's available on MetaQuest headsets for you to play right now.
Be a traitor to the crown, hanged by the neck until death.
Time to go to work.
Moving from a historic-based stealth action experience in VR, we come to a much more modern experience. Sniper Elite VR Winter Warrior. Now I know, when this game launched, there was quite a few issues and quite a lot of people weren't happy with the adaptation. The fact that it was the second Sniper Elite VR game, and yet there were still a lot of the flaws that existed in the first game. But the UK studio that made this, Rebellion, they are keen supporters of VR, and since launch, they went in and fixed a lot of the issues that people had. So right now, Sniper Elite VR Winter Warrior is probably the best stealth-based shooting game that you can get. You're not going to get up close and personal like you will in Assassin's Creed with your hidden blades. This is all about maintaining a distance. It is predominantly a sniper experience, and it works really well in doing that. In addition to the main campaign, there's also the Sniper Hunt mode, and this allows you to take on a series of waves to see how long you can survive basically without being seen, without being caught. Once you are seen, it is almost impossible to survive. So you have to make sure that you pick your targets incredibly precisely. Once again, Sniper Elite VR Winter Warrior is available right now for VR at home. So this one comes highly recommended if you're looking for some stealth-based gunplay. So at the start of this video, we talked about Espire 2, which is, as I say, one of the best stealth action games in VR right now. But Espire 1 VR Operative is still available and is still a really good time. Espire 1 VR Operative has just as many stealth-based mechanics as Espire 2, though the execution is a little more limited. The environments aren't quite as expansive, and the toolkit that you have isn't quite as fantastical or sci-fi. It's still a really good VR experience, so if you're enjoying Espire 2, definitely pick up Espire 1 VR Operative as well. There is no MR mode in this one. That was a unique addition for Espire 2. But Espire 1 is available for pretty much every VR device. So if Espire 2 is something that you really enjoyed and you want to try out some more, Espire 1 VR Operative still comes highly recommended despite its age.
see you.
Come on, back up, now!
Now we're going to talk about a game that you might think is a weird pick for a stealth game, but give me a minute and I'll explain why it's been chosen here. Batman Arkham Shadow is undoubtedly one of the best VR gaming experiences that you can have right now. And the way in which it executes its stealth is very similar to the Batman Arkham console games. As you traverse through areas in a linear fashion, you will encounter combat sequences. Some of these are just straight up fisticuffs, but there are others in which you can find hiding spots high above the enemies and use stealth tactics to take them out one by one in typical Batman fashion. You have a bunch of different gadgets such as your batarangs and grappling hook to allow you to take on large groups of enemies, but doing so without even being seen. And if you manage to pull this off, if you manage to retain your stealthiness, it becomes a much easier sequence and you'll have a much easier time to get through the levels. You can just drop down and try and beat everybody up before they get to you with their fists or baseball bats or even guns. But you can avoid all of that as long as you take some time to think about the situation you're in and use stealth tactics to your advantage. Now, obviously, Batman Arkham Shadow, as it stands, is currently only available for MetaQuest 3 and MetaQuest 3S. So if you're a PSVR 2 player, you're out of luck. But if you are a MetaQuest 3 or MetaQuest 3S player, go and get Batman. Go and get Batman Arkham Shadow right now and thank me later.
We repress our rage, our fears.
Now, we couldn't talk about stealth games in VR without talking about the big one that is coming later this year. Thief VR Legacy of Shadows is set to launch on pretty much every VR device late in 2025. It's obviously based on the Thief video game franchise, which is widely regarded as one of the best stealth game franchises we've ever seen. And it's being developed by studios that have a pretty decent reputation in VR right now for adapting traditional video games, traditional flat screen video games, to VR in such a way that it capitalizes on the immersive nature of the VR as a medium. Thief VR Legacy of Shadows still has you doing all the usual things you associate with Thief, sneaking around, lurking in shadows, stealing keys and breaking locks and all that kind of jazz. And through it all, it's using the immersive nature of VR to make you believe the situation you're in, to make you believe that this moment is real. What more could you want from a stealth game based in VR?
City hides many lost and legendary treasures, locked away, waiting to be found, waiting to be taken.
So those were our top picks for the best stealth and stealth-adjacent games that are available in VR right now. Do we miss your favourite? Make sure you let us know in the comments below.